off? I did. All right.
And even at 50, Paul still got some quick reflex.
Man, he's like a cha! Oh, ah!
Like a fucking cat.
That's pretty funny. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Making It Work. I'm Jimmy if you haven't been here before. We got this here Toyota Camry. It's a 2002. And the customer had it over there at the Tire Kingdom. And they told me it needed an oil pan, valve cover gaskets, a couple other things. It's in really good shape, super clean. 127,959 miles. So for a Toyota Camry, that's about half its life expectancy. And if they keep this thing this clean all along, it may go 3 times that. But the thing is, we're going to check it and try to beat their estimate, I guess, if it really needs all this stuff. They wrote them up for suspension, stabilizer links, oil pan gasket, valve cover gasket, and gave them a $1,400 estimate. They charge $12 an hour more than us at Tire Kingdom. I was pretty surprised. We get less than 130. So they're quite a bit more expensive than us. Fuck a tire store. That's pretty funny. We need to raise our labor rate apparently. But anyway, we're gonna take a look. Let's take a look under the hood of this thing and see what we got. Let's get to it. Oh, that makes me sad. I was ready because I knew it was gonna do it. Toyota junk. Can't even make a reliable hood shock over there at Toyota. All it needs is a valve cover gasket, like Tire Kingdom said. Got a new starter. Got original hoses, although rubber feels really good. There's one thing, I hate changing hoses if I don't have to, because the factory hoses are always far better material than the replacement aftermarket hoses. The belt looks original, but it's in really good shape. If you look at the spacing on the teeth, the grooves, when the belt's worn out, this is going to be more pointy. When these are nice and flat like that, it means it's not very worn. The OEM belt's another product that's way better than the aftermarket. This is a high spot on the head. It sits at an angle like this, and this is wet, so the back's very wet. If you guys can see that back there. We'll lift this car up and see what we find underneath. I'm going to get this thing in the air. I don't want to do a lickety split. Let's make this happen. What you got to do when you want to lift the car up, here we got special lifts that are, it's kind of like the clapper lights. You can clap on and clap off. You want to lift this car up, you just go. Told you it was easy. It's definitely got some oil leaks. The drain plug is marked pretty well with blue stuff, but it's leaking. So you can take a look. See above the drain plug, it's not wet at all. It's only wet at the drain plug. So this drain plug's leaking. They marked it very well, but I'm thinking the threads are probably stripped. That's why they told me they need an oil pan. Someone just changed the oil. The drain plug's stripped. It's dripping on the floor, you can see. Oh, it just dripped right before my eyes. Valve cover gasket's leaking as well, but not as bad as the oil pan. Front end looks okay, but the stabilizer links, the rubber's ripped out of them. I'll get my pliers and squeeze them and see how they are. All the tie rod ends are good. Show you guys how we test the stabilizer link over here, or how I test them. All you got to do is give them a squeeze. See that movement? Looks like it was just pulling the bar a little bit. And there's no play in them. They're not, when the stabilizer link's worn, you squeeze it, it'll move in and out on the socket. It's not doing that, but the boots are torn. So I can let the customer know, if you want to do them because the boots are torn and they're gonna wear, you can do that and be proactive. Or you can wait until they've worn a little bit. Tires all look good. Brake pads are new. Everything else looks pretty good on this little Camry. Got drum brakes. We'll have to pull a wheel off in the back to get a look. Exhaust is starting to leak. Alright. I'm gonna pull the wheel off the back and get a peek at the back brakes. A lot of times people won't check drum brakes because you can't see through the wheel. Alright, I got some more Milwaukee tools. You guys that watch my week in the shop get to see them first. This is a little 3/8 compact 3/8 impact. I'm gonna take these wheels off with it just for kicks. See how it does. You can tell it doesn't have enough mass to really do that job well, but it's doing it. Feel a little anvil in there going, hey man, what are you doing? That's not what I'm made for. But it does it pretty good. It's the reason I'm going to take a look at these brakes. People don't like to take drums off, and they also don't like to put them back on and line everything up correctly. So the rubber boot's missing because it's not lined up with the holes properly. Doesn't matter too much, since I'm anally retentive. It matters to me. Piece of cake. Oh, brand new brakes. Look at that. Brand new brakes. It makes me kind of sad, but now we know. I took a look, so everybody wins, right? You can see the rubber booty got crushed in there and ripped apart, the remnants of it. Now we'll find out what hole it goes to for real. I'm not really sure. Let's see. Yeah, that's the hole. Lines up a lot better up here than it does down here. Made me an executive decision. I'm going to use my 3/8 to tighten them because I'm going to torque them anyway, right? You gotta be really careful with a hub that's a little rusty like that too, to make sure it's seated fully.
This lift goes down slowly.
Let's see how this does. Perfect. It's almost exactly torque spec. Like 2 or 3 pounds below what it's supposed to be. Normally I'd spare the pickle juicers, but these hubcaps, they go on real easy. I'm gonna head up front, help them with an estimate. New oil pan's on the way. They stripped it out, cross-threading it. Bummer. Trying to get this silicone to break loose. You gotta, I use my gasket tool, but you gotta be very careful not to gouge the aluminum. Just gotta show it a little love. You gotta be firm, but hold your ground. Let it know who's boss, you know what I'm saying? That silicone will let go if you just load it and wait. Load it and wait. Load it and wait. Little by little. Be patient. There you go. Got a little silicone holding it up front. There you go. Just the slightest of nicks right there, that's fine. Take the heavy silicone off with this. Then I'll get out the old Milwaukee grinder dealie with a wire brush on it, see how it works. It's really nice if you can do it without oil running down your arm while you do it. But sometimes it can't be avoided. real careful not to gouge the aluminum. That's the biggest thing. Gouges are bad. Got a new oil pan coming for it, so threads are damaged. We're just going to replace it rather than try to repair it. Alright, I'm going to give this monstrosity another go with a bigger battery. That's my new 6.0. Let's see how that thing works. So far, it's alright. Hasn't shut off on me without me letting off. Trying to drip too much oil in it. Not too bad though with the 6.0, it's a little better. Not perfect, but it did shut off once or twice. I think the wire wheel has a lot of traction. It doesn't score the metal bad though, but it definitely gets some traction on gasket material and stuff. So maybe it loads it a little too much, but the 6.0 helped. It's better, but not as good as an air tool. A little bit of silicone, about approximately a 4 or 5 millimeter bead. That's all you need. More isn't better. Just make sure there's no gaps. Anywhere I stop, I overlap it a little bit, so I know there's not going to be any gaps. It comes with 3 tubes of silicone and a gasket. I guess you can use either one. And it comes from the factory with only silicone, so that's what I'm putting on it. And I do not like using the gasket and silicone, so it's one or the other. I think we're good here. Grab a couple bolts. And oil keeps trailing down this one corner, so I got a rag in there to keep the surface clean. Now it's a matter of getting it past this exhaust bracket. Requires you to give it some love without smashing the silicone off of everything. And there's 2 studs in there too that help line everything up. Now once you let the silicone touch, you don't want to let the pan back down and break the seal. So you got to hold it up while you get these bolts at least snug. I can see the silicone on this oxygen sensor, so I know it touched a little bit. So all I'll have to do now is this corner touched. When I tighten all the bolts, I'll make sure silicone oozes out of that area, so I know I got good contact. And clean some of these bolts off too. This one bolt I can't do by hand, so I gotta use my expertise to start it electrically. Look at that. What's the problem? It goes right on. I got them all started by hand. Otherwise, now I'm just gonna snug them all the way around, make sure I got silicone coming out between the bolts everywhere. Careful. Gravity check on aisle 3. That's normally where we check gravity at. Make sure I didn't miss any bolts. Don't have to be crazy tight. If I was going to guess, I'd say they're about 80 to 100 inch-pounds, you know, 4 or 5 foot-pounds, maybe something like that. Now we're going to let that, I'm going to let the silicone set up. You see we got a nice bead all the way around. It goes all the way, even where it touched the O2 sensor, there's silicone showing there. don't know if it comes up on camera, but we'll let the silicone set up an hour or so before we put the oil in it. Clean up our mess a little bit, make sure there's no oil on the floor. Everything looks pretty good. And we'll top it up. Top it up with 4 quarts of fresh 020. I think this takes 520 or 530. I gotta look. And this one will be done. Make sure the drain plug comes tightened in the new oil pan. Don't assume they come tight.
Don't miss the season of savings and up to $100 charge for tire disposal and TPMS service where required.
Travel is smart, but not just a smart. You some Frontier, you know a bunch of them. Known for catching waves. One where another where the fish get bigger. Every time you tell the story, some spots you made your mark.
You guys see that? Can you see that?
Aren't you?
I mean, that is spot on, ladies and gentlemen.
Find your Frontier.
I don't want to brag. Spot on. Thanks for being here. I hope you got something from it. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't yet. It's been a pleasure having you guys here because you're awesome. I'll see you in the next video.